A highly distressing and significant national security development has just emerged from the northeastern theater of operations, sending immediate shockwaves through the military hierarchy and the entire nation. Based on verified intelligence reports rapidly coming in from Borno State today, heavily armed insurgents, widely suspected to be a coordinated coalition of Islamic State West Africa province fighters operating alongside Boko Haram factions, have successfully executed a massive and incredibly devastating assault on a Nigerian Army military installation. This sudden and tragic confrontation took place at the forward operating base strategically positioned near the vital Banki junction, which sits directly along the heavily contested and highly critical Bama to Goza highway. The fierce encounter has unfortunately resulted in severe and heartbreaking casualties for our dedicated armed forces, leading to the painful death of a highly respected and valiant senior military officer, whom security sources have identified as Major U.I. Mairiga. Alongside the courageous Major, a brave captain and several other dedicated soldiers also lost their lives while fiercely attempting to defend their fortified position against a completely overwhelming number of heavily armed attackers. This deeply unfortunate incident represents one of the most intense and concentrated enemy engagements we have witnessed in recent weeks, serving as a very stark and sobering reminder of the incredibly dangerous and volatile conditions our frontline troops continue to face daily in the remote trenches of Borno State. To fully comprehend the sheer magnitude and the tactical nature of what actually transpired at the Banki junction, we must carefully examine the specific operational details provided by trusted military insiders regarding how these insurgents aggressively executed this offensive. The attackers did not simply stumble upon this military facility by accident. This was a highly calculated, meticulously planned and deliberately timed invasion designed to inflict maximum damage. The terrorists reportedly descended upon the forward operating base in massive, highly coordinated waves, utilizing a large fleet of operational motorcycles alongside several heavily modified utility vehicles. These tactical trucks were actively mounted with incredibly dangerous high-caliber anti-aircraft weapons and heavy machine guns, giving the attackers a temporary but massive volume of suppressive firepower. According to highly credible intelligence gathered directly from the theater of operation, the insurgents deliberately and maliciously timed their massive assault to coincide with the exact moment many of the stationed military personnel were completely vulnerable, specifically breaking their Ramadan fast around 6:30 in the evening. By exploiting this highly specific religious window, the militants actively attempted to catch the dedicated troops completely off guard. However, despite the suddenness of the heavy incoming gunfire and the overwhelming numerical advantage of the advancing attackers, the brave Nigerian soldiers stationed at the base absolutely refused to surrender their ground. They immediately rallied their defenses, grabbed their weapons, and engaged in a fierce, prolonged, and incredibly intense firefight that lasted for several grueling hours. These highly courageous men stood their ground firmly in the fading evening light, exchanging heavy kinetic fire with the insurgents in a desperate and valiant bid to protect the military facility and secure the outer perimeter, ultimately paying the supreme price in their unwavering service to this great nation. As we continue to closely monitor this highly sensitive and evolving national security situation, actively bringing you the verified facts regarding the ongoing military operations in the Northeast without any unnecessary sensationalism, I want to take a brief moment to ask for your solid support. If you truly value how we deliver these crucial verified national updates and actively separate dangerous internet rumors from actual military facts, please take just one quick second to hit that like button right now. It is genuinely the absolute most effective way to help this video reach more patriotic citizens who urgently need to stay properly informed about the real, undeniable sacrifices our armed forces are making every single day to keep this nation safe. Furthermore, if you want to remain completely updated on all major security, political, and defense developments happening across the country, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell right now so that you are immediately alerted the very moment we publish our next comprehensive factual report. Following the incredibly intense and chaotic battle at the Banki junction, the incredibly grim and heartbreaking reality of the encounter began to fully set in as the heavy dust finally settled over the Bama axis. Military authorities at the highest level swiftly initiated immediate recovery and stabilization operations. Security sources have officially confirmed that specialized medical convoys carrying the remains of Major Mairiga, the fallen captain, and the other exceptionally brave soldiers were respectfully and securely transported to the 7th Division Military Hospital, which is located in the heavily fortified capital city of Maiduguri. While the entire nation deeply mourns this heavy and painful loss, it is absolutely vital to properly place this specific targeted attack into the much broader strategic context of what is actually happening across the entire northeastern theater of operation in this current period of 2026. This tragic incident at the Banki junction is not an isolated show of terrorist strength. It is actually part of a much larger, incredibly violent pushback by desperate and fracturing terrorist factions who are currently suffocating under the immense, crushing weight of recent highly successful Nigerian military offensives. Just days prior to this devastating attack, the highly motivated troops of the Joint Task Force Northeast, actively operating under the banner of Operation Hadinkai, successfully and completely repelled massive coordinated terrorist assaults on multiple other forward operating bases located in Mayanti, Gajigana, and Gajiram. In those specific and highly kinetic encounters, the Nigerian Army completely dominated the battlefield, successfully neutralizing dozens of enemy fighters and recovering an absolutely massive cache of dangerous combat equipment. The military triumphantly seized automatic anti-aircraft guns, rocket-propelled grenade tubes, large quantities of ammunition, and even intercepted advanced weaponized drones that the desperate insurgents were actively attempting to use for aerial strikes against our troops. The total humiliating failure of those previous coordinated attacks actively forced the insurgents into a highly disorderly retreat, suffering extremely heavy operational and personnel losses. Because the Nigerian military has been so incredibly aggressive in systematically destroying their identified life support structures, actively cutting off their vital logistics and supply corridors, and continuously arresting their key local informants and suppliers, the remaining terrorist factions are now lashing out in a state of sheer desperation. They are actively resorting to launching these rapid, heavily concentrated, and highly dangerous attacks on isolated forward operating bases in a frantic last-ditch attempt to grab necessary weapons, secure vital food supplies, and score a cheap psychological victory to boost their rapidly depleting morale. Despite the incredibly heartbreaking and painful loss of the Major and his highly dedicated men, the military high command maintains a very strong and unwavering position that these sporadic, desperate ambushes will absolutely not deter or slow down the ongoing massive clearance operations designed to finally and permanently rid the entire Lake Chad region of these criminal elements. The frontline troops remain fully and completely committed to their highly sustained offensive posture, a strategy which continues to successfully deny the terrorists any actual freedom of action or safe movement across the vast expanse of Borno State. The incredible courage displayed by the fallen soldiers at the Banki junction, who fought fiercely and bravely under the absolute most difficult and terrifying circumstances imaginable, perfectly highlights the incredible resilience, dedication, and patriotism of the Nigerian armed forces. As the military rapidly regroups, reinforces its positions, and actively prepares to launch a massive heavy retaliatory sweep to aggressively track down and neutralize the fleeing insurgents responsible for this specific attack, we must ask ourselves a very important question about the immediate future of our national security strategy. Do you believe that the military hierarchy needs to urgently deploy significantly more advanced aerial surveillance technology and continuous close air support to properly protect these highly remote forward operating bases? Or do you firmly think the operational focus should shift entirely towards taking the offensive fight directly into the deepest remaining forest enclaves before these insurgents ever have a chance to regroup and plan another attack? Please share your honest, detailed thoughts in the comment section below, because your unique perspective is a highly crucial part of this vital national security conversation.